Hey, everybody, it's Natalie Bencavanga, and welcome to Facts Over Fear Unhinged News Roundup edition every time with our girl, Jess Britvich. Jess, we've got quite a lineup of topics today. We're really going to hone in on what Trump has been up to, because it's a lot. First, we're going to be talking about the Great American Fair that he has happening in DC, but is it more of a Great American Fail? And then we're going to talk about the fact that he and his family have stacked the system to help them make several billion dollars, in particular around the cryptocurrency industry, just in the last 2 years while he's been president, which is a whole bag of ethical issues. Then we're going to discuss Kylie Jenner. She is shilling for these Meta glasses. Girl, I got so many questions and so many thoughts.
And my problematic faves, but I can't even, they've crossed the line. They can't even be my problematic faves anymore.
No, they're just problematic. And now to round things out, we're going to talk about the statement that was made on top of the Empire State Building earlier. I think it was today. A couple proposed atop the building, but also let their flag fly and had a message for the world. It was pretty cool. I don't know how people are going to really top that one if you're getting engaged. I'm sorry to your partner. But let's start with this this freedom fail, so to speak. Okay. The Freedom 250, the White House affiliated organization, has been planning many of the events marking the nation's 250th birthday. It's been described as a world-class exposition and the modern-day World's Fair, celebrating the people, the traditions, innovations, and spirit that make America the greatest nation on earth. But in reality, I loved this comment from New York Magazine. It's turning into Donald Trump's answer to the Fire Festival. And
that's funny.
I gotta say, that is so real. Literally, just before we came on here, Jess, I was looking on some videos and they were doing a dance troupe on the stage. The stage collapsed, you guys. Like pieces of it was just falling. And if that isn't emblematic of what we're dealing with, I mean, so let's talk a little bit about the optics here, because this whole fair was supposed to be billed as this unifying celebration. But the reports describe, tens of people in attendance and power failures, last minute improvisation. Do you think this is just par for the course with this administration? Because it's giving fraud.
Everything is fraud. Come on. I think that it's definitely that question. Gosh, it's definitely spectacle. I think everything he does is about spectacle, but it's so cheap. And it goes back to how he has always been, from like putting the gold foil all over the White House to like your sorority girl during Rush or something like that, trying to like spruce up the place as cheap as you can from Hobby Lobby. Like everything, it's just about it's tacky and just I don't know. But, the UFC fight, the algae covered reflecting pool. It's just all.
It's on brand.
Yeah.
It's just on brand for the Trump administration. I mean, I think that's like why I am getting increasingly frustrated with all of this. I see the Abortion Liberation Fund of PA joined us. That's Miracle Jones. And I just had her on yesterday. Hi, Miracle. And I was bringing you up anyway, because I was just saying to her yesterday, I'm just so frustrated. Like, I'm so aggravated with this administration every single day. There is something, and what kills me is there's these constant bootlickers that are willing to explain, why we're wrong to feel the way we do, as we're literally watching him dismantle the Constitution. We're literally watching everything that we have as symbols of this nation be eroded or, to your point, like not recreated in a way that is positive. We're watching pieces of a stage collapse in on itself. I mean, this is so embarrassing, to put it lightly.
And you know what I do find interesting, though, is like, it is hilarious to see how empty it is. It really is like tens of people. I saw Maddie Pruitt, of all people, and that's the other thing. We'll talk about this in a second, but how, of course, they try to label it as being nonpartisan.
Uh-huh.
We have Maddie Pruitt up there, who I'm not sure if you're familiar, but she's an alum of Bachelor Nation, and
Oh.
her whole thing now is she's very much about the submitting to your husband, the Christian nationalism of it all, or whatever. And
Mhm.
up there, and someone's filming her speaking, they zoom out, literally nobody's there. But it is kind of interesting to see, like, because this is basically another rally, like, for him.
Yeah.
Everything he does is like a rally. But those rallies at one time were very, very well attended. So it is
Mhm.
interesting to see it being so sparse. I don't know. I don't know if it I get nervous to be like, "Oh, then maybe the tides are changing, maybe people are
Mhm.
picking up," but, it's at least a little bit encouraging to see, I suppose.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I'll say this too, if the Democrats do take back some power in Congress come November, they better get their heads on right, because this right here is ripe for an investigation. And it looks like the Democrats are already starting to investigate. This one article, I believe in The Guardian, was reporting on the House Democratic subcommittee report. It was alleging a pattern of ethical concerns, potential misuse of public resources, potential legal violations related to the Trump administration's handling of the 250th celebration. I mean, it's wild to me to think that any other administration, this would be enough. And,
Yeah,
and
of
I think
course.
that's where my frustration is coming in. It's like, what is it about this man? What does he have on these people? What is going on with the Epstein files that they're refusing to act? Because if the Dems take back the House and the Senate and do not immediately start investigating
Right.
all of this, there's potential wire fraud allegations, fundraising and pay to play concerns, steering government resources towards certain favored organizations. The people who put in the reflecting pool had never done a pool before. Like, what are we doing? So to me, this is yet again a symbol of just the deep level of rot and
Yes.
corruption within the Trump administration. But my concern is that the Democrats aren't capitalizing enough on, like, did you know any of this? Because I didn't even know any of this until I started reading it today, Jess, where I'm like, why aren't more people talking about this stuff related to this celebration? It's just there's too many fires to put out.
And that's exactly what's so frustrating about this whole administration, is that it's gotten to a point where he's done so much that is against the Constitution, that's against the presidency, that should put him in jail, let alone out of office. And because everything just continues to slide off his back, it helps him have more power, because people just throw up their hands and say, nothing's going to ever happen. This is the least of our worries, you know?
Yeah.
And we can't get like that, but, uh,
People are tired.
like, people are tired, and that's the point of this constant news cycle and this constant, barrage of just, insane headlines, is to frees us into submission. There's
Mhm.
people are tired, people are overstimulated, people are just trying. I mean, we're in a cost of living crisis. People, I just before I got on here made a video about healthcare and about how so many people, even people who have healthcare through their employer, are struggling
Mhm.
to make ends meet. So, you create this constant day to day where people are just trying to survive. You continue to, I don't know, somehow get around, all everything else that's going on, and then, people just get tired, I guess, but we can't let that be,
Yeah.
especially for, like, white people, like, this is a
Yes.
young fight, like, people have been doing this for a long time, like,
Yes.
we can't get tired, you know?
Right. And before we move on to the next topic, I just want to sort of put a bow, like tie this in a bow, because I think what also has really bothered me about this, speaking to the point of the level of exhaustion and having to keep up with everything, is like we really are in like an end stage capitalistic
Yeah.
hellscape. And this event really speaks to that, because there were corporate sponsors that reportedly played a very significant role in this American fair. Why? Like, this should be a government, like, this should be a taxpayer funded event.
Right.
The level of corporate sponsorship, we know what that means. It means
Exactly.
Trump's favoring certain companies, which means if they give some money, then there's going to be an expectation of something given to them.
Yeah.
And so you kind of almost have this ew around patriotism, which I think you and I probably do anyway. But now it's just this marketing opportunity to exploit the way people feel about their country, and who really is benefiting from this. It keeps going back to Trump. Trump benefits. He can sell his hats. He can sell his merch. He can sell his idea of what he wants the country to appear to be, even though we're all living in a very different reality than this billionaire and his family.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that segues really well into our next story, where everything that Trump seems to do is through the lens of how he can profit and not what's going to benefit the people. And nothing's more of an example of that than this. So I mean, what if the presidency came with its own rewards program? So according to newly released financial disclosures, Donald Trump and his family's cryptocurrency ventures generated more than $1 billion during his first year back in the White House. So between Trump branded meme coins, crypto ventures, and licensing deals, critics say the presidency is starting to look less like public service and more like a business model. And I just have to do the Jim Halpert, like, look at the screen at that, because I'm like, yes, yes.
You're like 100%. I mean, this is where we're at, right? I think of the other things that past presidents have had to disclose or sell in order to be president, put things in blind trusts or completely, move away from business ventures altogether, which good. Like, you're supposed to be a public servant. This isn't supposed to be a time that makes you extremely wealthy. And yet we see this with the Trump administration and with his family, the level of nepotism and favoritism and how they are all benefited from one grift after another. Do you remember when we were talking about, I think it was the cell phones, the Trump cell phones, those never came into fruition and people paid like, I think a few $100s in advance. They never received the phone. I mean, that is just one of the very small little grifts that he's done, these commemorative coins, the NFTs, like all of these things, and then he does a lot of shortchanging where he'll say something that he's invested in to get the price to go up because all these people buy in, and then he sells it and walks away as it plummets. I mean, all of that has
This is
ethical
like
flags all over it.
that's like textbook, like,
Yeah.
puppet
Shorting the
mill,
market.
whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm not like a investment girly or crypto girly. I know that that's a thing and that's not correct. But there is actually learned about this story a couple weeks ago because my man Ryan Atwood from the OC, Ben McKenzie, has been doing a ton of advocacy around crypto regulation. He has a documentary that's out now, and it's like I hope it comes to Pittsburgh, but it's been slow release throughout the country. It's called Everybody Lied to You for Money, and it's about basically the scam of like the crypto industry.
Wow.
But there's something going through an act going through right now called the Clarity Act, and I learned about this through him, and I kind of learned a little bit more about it. But it's pushing back on this exactly, saying that people in Congress, people like Donald Trump, who are writing and approving policies, should not be able to personally benefit from the policies that they're writing. Like, how are everyday Americans supposed to trust that policies are being written in public interest whenever those deciding on them have opportunities to personally profit from them? It's just like ethics 101.
It is. And like it really seems as though this should be basic shit. And now we have to the point where now Senator Elizabeth Warren, who I think has been at least a very vocal watchdog on a lot of these financial issues, and I appreciate her usually standing up on the right side of this. She has now called for legislation that would bar presidents, members of Congress, and their immediate families from profiting from crypto businesses while in office. But this is the part that's funny.
Yeah.
First of all, like, That's so specific. Why do we even, I mean, this shit, like to your point, why do we even need this? But we
Right.
do. And
Yeah.
then here's the other part. The Trump administration says that there are no conflicts of interest,
Of course.
Jess, because his assets are managed through a trust overseen by his children. There's no difference there. Who cares if it's in a trust? Your kids are still running it, and you're
Right.
creating law and policy
And the proof
that
is in
benefits them.
the pudding. He had more than 2.2 billion in income from,
Right.
like,
How?
so the proof is in
How?
the pudding, you know? I don't know. It's just absolutely absurd, and it seems like another one of those things that should just be common sense.
Girl, I feel like everything we talk about should be common sense, and yet here we are because there's been also a disclosure report that shows his income from real estate, golf clubs, licensing deals, branded merchandise, legal settlements. I mean, all of these things that he continues to do in the face of the ethical implications. And once again, I go back to my frustration at the beginning of our conversation, like, no one's doing anything, Jess. Or at least that's how it feels.
I know, that's how it feels, and, like, once again, it seems to be in every, like, industry. There seems to be corruption happening in every facet. Like, how are you supposed to be looking at crypto while also looking at what's going on with immigration and looking at what's going on with, just recently, we should have talked about this too. We pull out it, but the ban on transgender sports that just came out of the Supreme Court. Like,
Yeah.
so many of these huge, huge things that are impacting people's day-to-day lives, their human rights, the cost of living, their people's ability to move freely in the world. Um,
And
and
be seen.
yes, and you can't possibly, like, know everything there is to know about everything, but like I said, that's the design. So, I mean, I think whenever we get into these feelings, it's just important to know that, like, okay, we can't all advocate around everything. We're all not going to know everything there is to know about everything going on, but, like, we each can have a lane, and it's okay to focus on,
Yeah.
that lane, and we can't let all the other stuff, like, kind of cloud where we're at and kind of, overwhelm us into inaction, essentially.
I agree. And before we move on to the next topic, let's talk a little bit about the trans sports
Yeah.
ban really quickly, because I just heard this great quote and it really feeds into the Trump machine of this incredible sense of hierarchy and patriarchy and misogyny.
Mhm.
And this person on it was either Threads or one of my notes that I saw it, and they basically said, like, men didn't give a fuck about women's sports until they realized they could control them.
Look at
And
dumbass
that's what this
friend
is.
Cash Patel or whatever in the men's, locker room after the US
Yes.
thing, whenever he was the jokes they were making about, the US women's team and things like
Mhm.
that. They do not
They
care.
don't care.
About enforcing patriarchy. It's about enforcing gender essentialism, and it's about attaching moral panic to a group of people, and they've done this time and time again with Black people, with immigrants, with feminists, with and
Mhm.
now, with gay people, and now with trans people, where
Mhm.
they will create a smear campaign in order to win elections.
Yeah.
And it's so sad and it's so frustrating, and it's unfortunately, like, oh gosh, this is Natalie, we could go on for the rest of the time just
I know.
about this, and but it is, that's why I think it's just all I'm gonna say is, like, because I've had conversations with people in my life, not in my life because I don't talk to transphobes, but, like, old people I
Mhm.
used to work with and stuff like that, that
Mhm.
proximity with, but who it's working. The propaganda has worked on them, and they've repeated some of the craziest things that are not like the litter in school bathrooms and, like, all the crazy stuff that literally is not true. And so, like, I just feel for myself as a cisgendered woman, these men specifically will say, like, they'll try to defend their reason for supporting Trump, thinking that I'm gonna agree with them because they do it under the guise of saying, "Well, I voted." One person told me specifically, "I voted for Trump because of my daughters, because of I don't want trans women in sports," or, like, whatever, and thought that I was gonna agree with that, like, as a cisgendered woman. And I think, like, it's so important to so strongly push back against that anytime you hear it, like, for at any turn. And that's, I'll just leave it at that. But
No, and I think the reason it's so important to push back on this is because once again, as we continue to march into the jaws of fascism, these gender binaries are extremely important to uphold that system of
yes.
oppression, right? And so when we're thinking about it from that lens, and I think this segues us really well into the next topic, you have to have mascots to
Mhm.
continue to hold up these spaces of oppression, but you have to do it in a way where it doesn't appear to be so. And I'm sure that's why they thought, oh, well, Jess is an attractive blonde woman. She'll agree with me on this issue. And when you didn't,
Oh,
it
the wrong girl.
disrupted.
Yeah.
It shook that narrative. And so this is one of those things where it's like, okay, they have to find ways to spin it. They have to find ways to sell things that are going to be palpable to the masses. So, do you guys remember when like the Google Glass became sort of like this punchline of Silicon Valley? Like nobody wanted to wear Google glasses. People rejected this idea of wearing cameras on their faces that could collect data pretty much everywhere they went, including in the bathroom. Right, to your point.
Mhm.
And now let's fast forward 10 years. Big tech has a new strategy, and it's basically to make this surveillance fashionable, right? So it becomes about that consumerist culture. And of course, if you're going to do that, who do you have to get to buy in order to make this work? You have to get women. So
Mhm.
now Meta is pretty much putting all their chips on Kylie Jenner from the Kardashian family. And they're basically offering her up this idea of, hey, if you wear these AI powered smart glasses, you'll make them cool. And so she's been doing these like TikToks and Instagram videos, which I find work great in the wrong way because she's wearing them as she's interacting with her help, with her staff, and seeing it through that lens. It actually, to me, it was so cringe inducing.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
so capitalist in its striation of the hierarchy of the order of how she sees her own world, how everything is done for her. I think it actually had a backwards effect. But let's not forget, these accessories are there to collect data, to
Mhm.
train AI, and to
Mhm.
normalize watching each other all the time, to forget that you have the right to privacy at a certain level, even in public. So, my question for you, Jess, do you think this is a fashion trend that's going to stick around pushing these AI glasses? Or is this idea of surveillance capitalism just getting a designer makeover?
Well, that's exactly what it is, and it's just depending if the marketing is going to be strong enough because I mean, we already have very much widely adapted Ring doorbells everywhere, and that's really what that is too. And
Mhm.
Natalie, I know you were just at the beach and had a video that went pretty
Mhm.
viral, got a lot of attention, about surveillance cameras on the beach.
Yes. I actually did I tell you? I don't think I've told you what happened since.
No,
So
no, I don't think so.
I'll tell you guys really quickly. So I was in Hilton Head Island. We were on the beach. I said to my husband, that's a new camera. It was this huge solar powered surveillance camera just on the beach. So I did a really quick on the fly video and I said, flock technology is everywhere. Now we got surveillance on the beach, da da da. Da. To your point, goes pretty viral for me, several 100,000 views, tons of comments. So a reporter just reached out to me from Hilton Head
What?
and they saw the video. They decided to investigate. And I guess the sheriff in Beaufort County was really pissed off that I brought attention to this. And so not only did I bring attention to it, but I told the woman who interviewed me, I said, I think her name is Lee Khan. I said, he's claiming there's no surveillance cameras, that they're not engaged with Flock at all. But I went to dflock.org. It's a public place. We can all go on that website. And I typed in Beaufort County. There's over 1,800 Flock cameras. 1,800. So either he's lying or he doesn't know. And
Yeah.
so going back to your point, we're getting way too comfortable with signing our
Yeah.
public privacy away. And people were in my DMs, they were like, this is so scary because my kids are
Yeah.
little. who's watching
Yeah.
who's watching these videos? Who has access to them and why?
And we all just end up policing each other also
Oh,
too. And who is that going to impact the most, too? And that's the other
that
thing
part.
that I think is really scary. But I think in whether or not it's going to catch on, I think it kind of depends on here's the thing. If they take the like self-optimization lens of it, which I think is why unfortunately people do like AI a lot or like,
Mhm.
defenders of AI because of we're in the self-optimization culture. We
Yeah.
people are doing the wearables. I mean, I like my Apple Watch,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
everybody's doing, the wearables. There's all so much about just like the biohacking, the self-optimization, the hustle culture and organizing your life, all that kind of stuff. And people because people are burnt out, they don't wanna think about the larger implications, of things because things are so expensive, even going back to, like, the Aura rings, which are
Mhm.
connected to Palantir and, that type of surveillance and everything like that. Whenever healthcare is so expensive, it's actually sometimes easier to buy, like, a $500 ring that's like, "Oh, you're not having a heart attack, like, you're good. You don't have to go to the hospital," what so, I mean, same idea, I think, with these glasses, but I think we have to hone in on kind of the other end of it. It is that surveillance thing. People don't like that, like, they feel their phones are listening to them all the time,
No
but when I
way.
talk about, like, that surveillance capitalism, that's what that is. It's that, like, everything's being tracked, the Wi-Fi that you're on, the stores that you're going to, where your credit card's in or whatever, and so, like, I was explaining this to my husband the other day because I got a pair of Gooder glasses, Goodr, I think they
Mhm.
are, I don't know, some brand or whatever from Dick's. My husband's like, "I've literally never heard of these before in my life, and now I'm getting ads." He's like, "Our phone listened to us." And I was like, "No, we're on the same Wi-Fi in the same house. My location's on, saw that I went to Dick's, purchased this with a card that I've used on this Wi-Fi, which then shows that we're in the same house and now it's sending you the ads." Like, people don't realize how interconnected it is.
Yeah.
And now you're taking something that's literally like you're surveying, like, other people and things like that too, and it goes back to, like, with the AI face recognition and your children and privacy and bathrooms. You wanna go on about, like, trans people in bathrooms, how about let's get the AI glasses out of the bathroom, you know?
That part. And,
Like,
like, I'll also say this to your point, about the rings and the Aura rings and the watches. I haven't subscribed to any of it personally because I'm already wound up, and it's like, do I need to be that much more wound up? Like, nobody needs that, okay, from me. And
yeah,
so when I think about the origin, though, Jess, of
uh-huh,
all of this self-optimization, and when we think of the origin of what you're talking about with this surveillance capitalism, what it really comes back to is a white supremacist
yeah,
state, because all of this is about perfection. This idea that you can buy your way
mm,
to perfection, which is a true colonizer, supremacist mentality. And I remember, somebody said something on a video that I saw, and they were like, what's your dream job? And the other woman said, I don't dream of labor.
right, right,
And to me, it's like we have to kind of be recentering and rethinking how and why we're doing the things that we're doing. There's nothing wrong with having an Aura ring. There's
right.
nothing wrong with having a phone, or excuse me, a watch that tracks your steps. But I think we have to ask ourselves why. Because if we're doing it because, we want to make sure we're healthy and we're taking care of ourselves, great. But I think it can go well beyond that meaning, and it starts to take on a whole other lens of supremacy where now we can striate ourselves. Oh, they don't own an Aura watch. They aren't caring about themselves the way that
Oh,
I care about myself.
yes.
I'm a better person. Like, and it's once again tied to money and what they can afford, to your point.
Yes, and I think too, there's, a really interesting conversation, I think, is around Gen Z and how much they've bought into self-optimization and how much
Yeah.
of Gen Z, like, isn't going out anymore. They aren't,
Oh,
they aren't drinking, which is positive. Like, it's objectively healthy to, like, not drink, but at the same time, whenever you're like, how far is it whenever you're doing your 12-step skincare routine and you're doing your red light therapy and you're going to bed and you're putting your phone on do not disturb and, like, waking up in the morning, doing your journaling, doing your whatever. sometimes it is healthier to just go out and like dance and stay out till 3 in the morning and like be drunk with your friends and
Yeah.
like just social interaction, if
As
we
an elder millennial, I approve that message.
right? Like if you continue chasing this self-optimization, at some point it becomes what's the word? This is
Neurotic. It's
yeah,
neurotic.
like yeah,
It's anal. It's not fun. Like there
it's
is
a
this
disorder.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, there is this constant surveillance of just being on social media, right? We're seeing each other, so we want to make sure we're putting out our best foot forward all the time. That is exhausting. That is exhausting.
It is. It as someone who, we're both on here a lot for a living in some ways, it
Mhm.
is. It's kind of
Yes.
exhausting and yeah. But we're being sold it, and we're buying it. We're
Yeah.
buying the problems that then we're yeah, trying
I
to
And I
then
think that's
buy
why I
things
wanted
too.
to do this ongoing show together, because I think it's really important that we talk about these things from this perspective, because there isn't, I think, a lot of that pushback in media right now. And I just want to end before we move on to our final topic. I want to talk a little bit about when we think of a movement, whether it's an anti-AI movement, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's, Me Too, or whatever movements we've witnessed, what is the best way to kill the movement is to commodify it.
Mhm.
Let it end up in the clearance bin at Target, right? Like this whole idea that you can wear a pride t-shirt, you can wear meta glasses, that commodification kills whatever the movement was about. So AI is not scary if you're wearing it, right? It's cool. Like girl boss isn't something to be up like nervous about, a woman being in power if it's on a hashtag t-shirt because it's so cute and it's in pink. Like it takes out the teeth
Right,
of whatever
right.
the movement is. And that's my other concern, is especially young women that are easily influenced by the Kylie Jenners
Oh, yeah.
of the world, because all of them are getting a pair of these sent to them in the mail. It's
Oh
not
my
just
god.
Kylie. So
Exactly.
we're going to be seeing this a lot more. That's what concerns me.
I know, and Kim's already she a couple years ago did a shoot with Tesla, like, or whatever, they're all really sad because I did enjoy my Kardashians back in the day. But
Back in the day, like 3 facelifts ago, they
yeah,
were they
exactly,
were they
exactly.
were fun, but
Yeah.
no, I agree. I mean, I think it's hard to enjoy this stuff now when you know how poisonous it really is.
Right, and it is interesting how much of it is for social media and the range that people will go to appear cool on social media, and that's ultimately, what led to our next couple or our last couple doing something that is probably the most white people thing you'll ever hear, so a Russian
Buckle up, everybody. Literally.
roof-topping couple known for scaling skyscrapers without safety gear climbed the Empire State Building's antenna, unfurled a bandana reading or a banner reading, "When the power of love beats the sorry,
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
when the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." Fair.
What a statement. I mean, we're not wrong.
I mean, it's
You're not
just so
wrong.
like 2014, you know what I mean? Like,
It's
and it's
vintage.
such like a well, okay, we'll get there. Anyways, and then after that, they staged what appeared to be a high altitude proposal before being arrested. So the stunt blurs the line between romantic expression, illegal trespass, viral spectacle, raising questions about how far people will go for content and symbolism. So I was creeping on this couple last night, and they both have very robust social media followings. They do this, they film it in like with the drones at 4K, and they're all like super ripped and like they're making out and like it's very much. Do you remember Alexis Ren and Jay Alvarez? Were you into them? This is probably before you were.
No.
Yeah, this was
Tell me. Tell
they
me.
this couple that was
Okay.
really popular in 2013, 2014, 2015. And they were just like hot on the beach. They would do these montages to this like EDM music and put them on YouTube. And they were like, they would go skydiving and then they'd be making out under a waterfall and then they'd be eating their acai bowl. It like was very much giving that to me. Um,
Okay.
People really yearn for like Alexis Red and Jay Alvarez. I think
Like
this
a
is
throwback.
like indicator or something. but um, but it also is just like, first of all, there's been a lot of white people climbing things this year. Like,
Yeah.
what's his name? What's his name?
Yes.
Alex
In that.
Honnold and
Mhm.
Solo climbing that thing, which is also Netflix. I guess this couple has a Netflix thing
Oh,
as well, I believe. I don't think it was in cahoots with this little stunt, but they do
right.
a Netflix show or documentary or something like that that I saw Netflix was using to promo, like using their footage from this to promo.
Mhm.
Uh, but one conversation that I saw that came out of this was just like white people activism, like of all the things that she could have put up there, like it's just like so corny. It's so like it goes
Yeah.
back. It's something that would be in Target whenever they were like on board with like DEI,
Literally. Yeah.
uh, and it's just like like the ways that white people look at how they could kind of like profit from also like getting involved in activism, especially whenever it's only just spectacle and only just optics and only just like Instagram. I don't know. It just like even the conversation around it and stuff, like it's just corny.
Well, and I'm looking up real quick because I want to make sure I remember the name correctly. Yes. Okay. So what I want to say is the way in which activism happens with white people, for instance, in this case, they knew they would get arrested.
Right.
They knew their police interaction would not lead to their death.
Exactly.
This is happening in the same week that we are burying Cohen Wiley, the little 1-year-old boy that we now know was shot through the window of the car, which means the cops lied about that.
Of course.
This is coming on the heels of so many activists that were brown and black that were, attacked and now kidnapped by ICE, right? We're looking at how journalists are being attacked and silenced. We're seeing all of these rights being stripped away. I just interviewed Daniel Sanchez Estrada's sister, who he's the one that got 30 years for the magazines in the Prairie Land 8. I just did an interview with his sister. He was moving a box of magazines, right? So what I'm trying to say is the reality is what frustrated me about this is you had an opportunity to really make some kind of a statement. You have all these eyes on you. Instead, you take this silly little, the love of peace and power and all this
Like
shit.
something that's so like like
It's so nothing. You're
yeah.
not going to be harmed in your interaction with the police, and nothing's really going to happen to them, right? So, and on top of it, the flagrant disregard for the first responders, for the public. God forbid one of them had fallen, right? I mean,
that observation deck. Oh my
yeah,
God, so
this was
traumatizing.
a really intense thing that they did scaling this building, and to have so little regard for everyone around us. It's a very me versus we mentality, which is a very capitalist mentality, which has gotten us back into this whole problem in the first place. It's a very supremacist mentality. Like there's just so many things here that I feel make this just feel so gross.
Yeah, it is. It's just corny. I have like no
And
other word for it. It's just like this is so
you're like, girl, it's just corny.
like this is just dumb.
It's not that deep. It's just a mess.
No, it's deep. It is. You'll never catch me saying that. But it's just like be serious. Like, oh my gosh. But no,
And
absolutely.
it's just crazy.
Just selling it back, these images that just keep popping up they would have killed on Tumblr. But I just think they're a little bit late to this type of
It is a content from yesteryear, so to speak. Yeah, 100%. Oh my goodness, you guys, we had such a good time just now doing this news roundup. I love that we're back on it now that you're back from your vacation and you're feeling refreshed and you look tan. You've got that summer glow going.
Oh, thank you. Trying. As soon as I can.
And I hope everybody is going to stay cool. This heat wave is no joke. That's another thing that we could have spent time talking about is just how we're all navigating and having to deal with this climate crisis that the billionaire class has created. And yet the blame has shifted to the individual. The onus has shifted to the individual. So please, if you are, able to be in an air-conditioned space or at least have a fan going, make sure that you are staying cool. A lot of people do end up dying in this heat. My girl's got her fan out right now. She's like, I'm not messing around.
I'm not messing around. Not with this baby bump. What's going on
That's
here?
it. That's it. She's hot enough for two at this point. But you guys, we really appreciate you joining us. Jess, if people want to follow you and learn more about your work, I didn't say at the beginning, like I normally give you your intro because we wanted to get right into it, but Jess is an incredible content creator.
Just crazy. We could keep going. But yeah, I'm Jess Britfitch. You can find me at Jess Britfitch on Instagram and TikTok or here on Substack.
Wonderful. Make sure you guys can subscribe to us both above. And until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.